God dag alle sammen. Good day, everyone. Welcome to Hurtigruten and more specifically the North Cape Line day-by-day overview. My name is Lynn Wilson. I'm a regional sales manager for Hurtigruten, and today we're going to take you through one of our premium signature itineraries. And this overview will specifically cover the 25, 26, and 26, 27 season departures. So there's a slight itinerary change between 24, 25 season and 25-26 season. Before we dive into things, however, I always think it's important to know your Norway. So let's talk about a few facts, and I want you to remember these. 1,700 fjords. That is a record-breaking number of fjords. I do believe it's the largest concentration of fjords in the world. Remember that 50,000 islands and two-thirds of the country is mountainous. Let's talk about the Hurtigruten difference, and then I will tell you why I wanted you to remember those facts here in a little bit. So let's start with 130 years of reliability, or over 130 years, I should say. What do I mean by that? Now, let's talk about those 1,700 fjords that you're going to find along the Norwegian coast. So you should immediately know that we all have this beautiful waterfront property. We have these beautiful mountains in the background, and then we need to go to the post office, and the post office is across the fjord. So very beautiful, stunning coastline, very logistically challenging to navigate. So there was no link tying the southern and northern regions together back in the 1800s. If one was to send mail up to the north, it would take weeks to get there in the summer and months in the winter. So in 1893, the Norwegian government floated out a contract to seafarers asking if anyone would be willing to navigate the coastline also at night. Keep in mind, 50,000 islands, that makes it rather treacherous to navigate. So initially there was no one that took the bait, and nobody volunteered to utilize their ships. That is until our captain and founder, Richard Witt, he commandeered the DS Vesterålen. And we got our start on July 2nd by carrying mail from Trondheim here up to Hammerfest. And he made nine ports of call along the way, and he achieved that journey over the course of 3 days. So history was formed that trip in 1893. Hurtigruten was born. Hurtigruten quite literally translates to the fast route. So Hurti means fast, Ruten means route, and we've never looked back since. So this map that you're looking at, that is what we refer to as the original Coastal Express. And we still have 7 ships operating this itinerary year round with up to 5 departures every single week. So the first lesson about Hurtigruten here is that we are a lifeline to the Norwegian coast, and we are a celebrated lifeline to the Norwegian coast. No one knows more about Norway than we do, and we look forward to the next 130 years. So think of this. This is the original Coastal Express, but that's not the itinerary that we're going to discuss today. This is merely the foundation of what makes us the most authentically Norwegian experience. When you sail with us, the Hurtigruten difference is your relaxing haven at sea. So we don't have water slides, late night casinos, or discotheques. We invite you to immerse yourself in the beauty and tranquility of the Norwegian coastline. For your accommodations, your ship is your home away from home. The stateroom is your bedroom. They do run a little bit tight, so if space is important to you, you should be looking at a suite. The restaurants are your kitchens on board, and the panorama lounge, that is your living room. So the MS Trollfjord that operates the North Cape Line has an impressive 2-story panorama lounge. The ship is built for your comfort. There's loads of observation deck space where you're going to take in the sights. We'll have some trivia nights. We might have some auctions on board, but Norway will be the show that is provided to you. So it's a wonderful, tranquil experience, and the onboard atmosphere is kind of like that of a cozy cabin. Not uncommon to see people knitting, crocheting, maybe building a puzzle, playing Uno or cribbage. No dress code on board either. This is strictly your home away from home, and it should be a leisurely affair. The fleet is designed for Norway. So what do I mean by that? Other larger cruise liners might take a few thousand guests, so we're only going to take a few hundred. That means that our ships can navigate much closer to the Norwegian coast, and we can fit into those tight, narrow fjords where those larger ships cannot go. So you will have a front row seat to the most stunning coastline in the world. The way we'll entertain is through education, or edutainment as we call it. So we do lean on deep knowledge and expertise. A Hurtigruten experience is much closer to that of an expedition than it would be of an ocean experience because of this lecture program format. So we'll have a lecture program, or if we pass areas of historical and cultural significance, we're going to invite you out on deck and tell you the story. You're also going to taste the coast of Norway. 80% of our food is sourced locally, and we're proud to support over 70 local farms, bakeries, and producers from across Norway. So you're going to see Norway. You are going to learn about Norway. You are going to taste the coast of Norway, and you're going to get to know our suppliers. You're going to learn all about short-traveled foods, and you're going to have some of the freshest ingredients available. So now, I mentioned we don't have a dress code, but I will say you may be better off leaving all the tight clothing at home. If you do embark in jeans, you may debark in sweatpants, and that's okay. So let's talk about the signature voyages, more specifically the North Cape line. So the map that you're looking at here, it looks different from that original map I showed you. The original Coastal Express is still a lifeline to the Norwegian coast. You have up to 6 ports of call per day, shorter times in port, and we're still carrying cargo. We're still carrying Norwegians from port to port, even now, 131 years later. So in conjunction with our 130th anniversary, we did launch 2 new itineraries. These are signature voyages, and the Northern Lights theme one is what we're talking about today, is the North Cape line, and then you have a Midnight Sun themed signature voyage, which is called the Svalbard line. So North Cape line and Svalbard line. The difference with these itineraries is that they're fully commercial. They are premium. They're more inclusive. So we've built upon our 131 year legacy, and we have made it more premium, and we've listened to the North American people. We are giving you longer port stays. We're giving you more inclusions. So only daytime ports of call. We're not stopping at night. Up to 14 ports of call. You can average anywhere from 4 to 10 to 12 hours in port. We have an award-winning Norway's Coastal Kitchen on board. These are absolutely culinary cruises in spades. We have a generous drinks package, and we do have enhanced onboard activities. So we have a 6-person coastal experience team here to host the lectures and the points of interest out on deck. Something you need to know about Hurtigruten is that more often than not, most times we're modular. So the North Cape line, we will have 3 ways to explore. The full round trip is the 15-day North Cape line. We'll take you from Oslo, up to Honningsvåg here, and it's going to wrap around to Oslo. If you cannot get away for 15 days, we do have shorter segments. We have a 7-day north segment from Oslo to Tromsø, and then we have a 9-day south segment, Tromsø, Honningsvåg, Oslo. So as we go through the day-by-day ports, and let's say you can't go for 15 days, if there's any of the ports that pique your fancy or your interest here, maybe that will help determine which route you should take, essentially. But our adventure will start in Oslo. That is the capital of Norway. It's the country's largest city. Right here, you're getting a front row seat to the Viking history. Oslo has strong ties to Vikings and culture. It has museums showcasing ancient artifacts. It's also surrounded by nature. So Oslo's nestled between the Oslo Fjord and lush forests, offering easy access to outdoor activities. So make sure you arrive a little bit early. Go forest bathing before you set foot on ship. Oslo's also referred to as a green capital. So it was named the European Green Capital for its eco-friendly initiatives and focus on sustainability in 2019. And it is a cultural hub. So it's home to these iconic attractions such as the Oslo Opera House and the Vigeland Sculpture Park, both that celebrate art and culture. So we're going to leave later in the evening here. So you could theoretically arrive the same day. Most of the flights from North America will land early in the morning, but plans we make, Mother Nature can break. So we do recommend that you arrive at least a day in advance and just, acclimate to the time change, enjoy what Oslo has to offer before you set sail on the MS Trollfjord. So day two, we're actually going to start with a sea day where we wrap around the southern port of the southern parts of Norway. And here's where you'll start to have more lecture programs. Maybe we'll have some food tastings out on deck, acclimate to the time change, just kind of melt into the Norwegian way of life, which is basically slow living, staying in the present, and very little stress to be found in Norway. Day three, you're going to wake up to some impressive fjords, more specifically the Lysefjord. And this is home to the iconic pulpit rock, or Preikestolen, as we call it in Norway. This person is absolutely insane, but they are standing on a cliff that sits over 600 meters above fjord level. That is a famous cliff. Maybe you've seen it in movies. There's also another famous area. It's called the Hjerag boulder, which is that boulder that's lodged between those two mountainscapes. And there's lots of crazy people that risk their lives every single day for that photo op. The Lysefjord itself is a long fjord. It stretches around 42 kilometers and you will be graced by steep mountains. It's such a popular spot for fjord cruises. So I could think of many worse ways to wake up than to wake up in the Lysefjord. We will also call upon Stavanger. We'll be there for about 5 hours there, and you're going to learn about the deep Viking roots. It's located near Hofsfjord, which is the site of the famous battle of in Hofsfjord in 872, where King Harald Hårfagre, or Harald the Fair Hair, he united Norway into one kingdom back then. Stavanger's historic roots. It's also one of Norway's oldest cities. It's known for its charming old town with well-preserved wooden houses. Finally, Stavanger oil capital status. So you're going to find that Stavanger is Norway's oil capital. This is a wealthy country, largely due to the discovery of oil back in the day, but it does play a key role in the country's oil industry from Stavanger here. We're going to call upon Ålesund on day four, and you might be familiar with this town. It is one of the touristic towns of Norway. Immediately, you're going to be graced with this Art Nouveau architecture. And the reason you find this Art Nouveau style is because there was a devastating fire in 1904 that decimated large swaths of the city. And when they opted to rebuild, they did choose this style. You will also be graced with panoramic views. Maybe you want to hike up to Mount Aksland. You'll get the vistas that you can see here of the city and surrounding fjords. Fun fact, Ålesund is built on islands. It's uniquely spread across 7 islands and it's connected by bridges and tunnels. So this is actually quite common in Norway. And it is a gateway to the fjord. So Ålesund is a popular starting point for exploring nearby fjords, such as the UNESCO listed Geirangerfjord or the Jørundfjord. It's also known for as Norway's fisheries capital. It does have a rich maritime history and one of the largest fishing harbors in the country. So lots to explore here in Ålesund. And then we're going to set our sights on Rørvik. That's a key gateway to the picturesque islands of the Vikna archipelago. So you're going to find lots of archipelagos that we'll sail through here, but Vikna is known for its scenic beauty and vibrant marine life. It is a historical port in that the town has a rich maritime history, was an important trading port during the Middle Ages. It's a cultural hub. So Rørvik hosts the annual Fiskefestivalen, or the Fish Festival. It celebrates local seafood and maritime culture with a variety of events and activities. It has its architectural charm, so you can once again find these charming wooden houses and historical buildings that reflect the maritime heritage. And now is when you really need to look to the skies, because we are entering the auroral zone at this point. So Rørvik is located in Nord-Trøndelag, or northern Trøndelag. This is where the Northern Lights viewing opportunities are really going to kick off. So make sure that you are looking to the skies. We're going to cross the Arctic Circle. We're going to have a little ceremony associated with that on board. And then we're going to get to Svolvær, which is the beating heart of the Lofoten archipelago. If you have considered going to Norway, if you've looked up on Google Images, I guarantee you have seen images of the Lofoten archipelago. It's one of the most scenic areas of all of Norway. And Svolvær is often considered to be the gateway of the stunning Lofoten Islands. It's known for its dramatic landscapes and fishing villages. Lots of Viking heritage in the region. You have the Lofoter Viking Museum right nearby. It's famous for cod fishing. You do have the annual Lofoten Cod Festival here, celebrating this vital industry. So lots and lots of fishing industries, maritime history along the coast of Norway. This will be the norm, not the exception. And of course, all the beautiful scenic surroundings. It's surrounded by these striking peaks and fjords. You have the Lofotveggen as well. It's the Lofoten Wall, which is a wall of mountains that spans about 100 kilometers. And these mountains are about 1,000 meters or more high, essentially. It's an artistic hub. So Svolvær is a big draw for artists. They flock to the area. You have the beautiful light all throughout the year. You have the beautiful landscape. So you're going to see a lot of artists in this region. Also, on day 6, we're going to call upon Stokmarknes. So for the most part, we're going to make around 1 port stop per day, but there on day 6, we will make 2 ports of call, and we're going to stop here at 8 o'clock in the evening. So immediately you need to look up to the skies because this is definitely in Northern Lights territory, as you see in this image here. And Stokmarknes is where it all began in 1893. That is the Hurtigruten birthplace, and it is celebrated now with the Hurtigruten Museum. So we have a decommissioned vessel, the MS Finnmarken, from 1956, and you can walk through 131 years of history and legacy by exploring this ship and all the parts within it. Stokmarknes is a historic port. It has a historic port that's been a key hub for maritime activities and trade in northern Norway. Polar research, it has a rich history of polar research with connections to famous Arctic expeditions. And of course, it's known for its natural beauty. It is also surrounded by the beautiful fjords and mountains. So Stokmarknes is in a different archipelago. It's called the Vesterålen archipelago. So you have 2 archipelagos in one day. Finally, the local culture. Stokmarknes does host various cultural events and festivals throughout the year, celebrating its maritime heritage and local traditions. Tromsø is the gateway to the Arctic, or the Paris of the North, and also commonly referred to as a Northern Lights capital. It is known to be one of the best places in the world to see Northern Lights with optimal viewing conditions during winter specifically. Conversely, in the summer, it's home to midnight sun. So the sun does not rise for months on end in winter, and it doesn't set from late May through late July. So it has those 2 phenomenons there. It also is home to the Arctic Cathedral, which you see here, or Tromsdalen Church. That's famous for its striking modernist architecture, impressive stained glass windows. And what I really love about Tromsø is the polar expedition history. So Tromsø was a key departure point for several historic polar expeditions, including those led by Roald Amundsen and Fridtjof Nansen. Finally, dog sledding is important here. It's a popular excursion for folks to participate in. And I feel like, this is definitely one of those bucket list activities that guests want to experience. The northernmost point on this itinerary will be Honningsvåg, and that is the jump off point for the North Cape that you see pictured here. That's considered to be one of the northernmost points of mainland Europe, and you can feel like you're standing at the edge of the continent, essentially. Honningsvåg is also home to the polar night from late November through mid-January, so you'll have continuous twilight and darkness. It's a historic fishing town, once again, rich maritime history, former fishing hub, and has all these picturesque old buildings and a vibrant harbor you can explore. This unique monument that you see is at the North Cape. You'll find this iconic globe monument. It is a place where you must take a selfie or make sure you have your picture taken here. And finally, you can also spot some wildlife in the area, more specifically reindeer, some seabirds, depending on the time of year, and occasionally the elusive Arctic fox. This is the turnaround point. We do set our sights south from here on out. Alta will be day 9, and this is also a Northern Lights hotspot. It is known for its clear skies, excellent Northern Lights viewing opportunities. You will have the World Heritage rock art here. That is the Alta rock carvings. It's the UNESCO World Heritage Site. It does feature prehistoric rock art that dates back over 6,000 years. It's also one of the northernmost cities in the world. It does provide this unique Arctic experience and stunning winter landscapes. You even have an igloo hotel that is home to the Soris Niva Igloo Hotel, and ice built entirely of snow and ice. So enjoy that frosty stay through an optional excursion. And it is a modern Arctic hub. So, despite its Arctic location, it does boast of modern amenities, vibrant cultural events, and it does make it a lively and accessible destination in the far north. Enter into the World War II history with Narvik. So this was very strategically important during World War II due to its ice-free harbor, which was crucial for shipping, especially for exporting iron ore from the Kiruna mine in Sweden. So where it has historical significance with regard to World War II is that Narvik was a key battleground during World War II with the Battle of Narvik. There was a significant conflict between the Germans and the Brits during the early stages of the war. And even now, there is a movie on Netflix. I think it's called Narvik. So, highly recommend you watch that, and then you'll learn all about Narvik here in the region. Winter sports also very popular. Just a fun fact here: it's excellent for skiing and snowboarding facilities in the nearby Narvik Fjell ski resort, essentially. So we're going to have a sea day. We're going to cruise the inner coastal route. So it's technically considered a sea day, but keep in mind our ships are smaller. We do hug the coast for the vast majority of the way. So you will have lectures, points of interest out on deck, and hopefully some food tastings. So enjoy the cruising the inner coastal route with us. We're going to Åndalsnes, which is considered to be the mountaineering capital of Norway, and it's a small village, just about 2,000 inhabitants here. The highlights here, of course, are the mountains and the fjords. So you have two fjords coming into Åndalsnes. You have the Isfjord and you have the Romsdalsfjord, and you can participate in a gondola ride on Norway's longest and most sustainable cable car. It takes about 5 minutes for the gondola to cover around 5,500 feet from fjord to the peaks of the Romsdals mountain. So that would be an optional excursion that we do highly recommend you participate in. We're going to stop by Bergen, which is essentially the main hub for Hurtigruten for the original Coastal Express. So this is where the 7 ships will be leaving out of up to 5 times a week year round. So everyone in Bergen knows of Hurtigruten. This is Norway's second largest city. I always like to joke it's known for the rainy days. I joke that on a good day it rains from top to bottom, and on a bad day it rains side to side. But it is a gateway to the fjords. It's a popular starting point for exploring the nearby fjords, the Sognefjord, Hardangerfjord in general. It's a cultural hub. It's home to the Bergen International Festival, and you have a UNESCO World Heritage Site here called Bryggen. That's where you're going to find those colorful wooden buildings that date back to the Hanseatic League era. Kristiansand is the second port of call where we would have some World War II history. It was the headquarters for the Gestapo in southern Norway during World War II, reflecting its strategic importance there. It's a southern gateway known to the gateway to southern Norway. It offers access to the beautiful beaches and coastal landscapes. So we're going there in winter, so I don't see us perusing the beaches too much, but you will encounter the colorful wooden houses that are quite typical for Norway. And I do believe they have a quadratic city setup, if you will. Also home to cultural festivals, Kristiansand. So fun fact, you have the North Cape and then you have the South Cape essentially in the near regions here to Kristiansand. So that's the second to last day. And then we get back to Oslo on day 15. We do arrive at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you should be able to fly out same day if you like, but just kind of keep that in mind. We do recommend that you consider extending. So let's talk about some excursions as well. We have levels 1 through 4, 1 being suitable for everyone, 4 being more demanding. So when you're looking at excursions, what I'll say is just make sure you're looking at the levels and choosing the ones that are best suited for your level of fitness. Fishing, I think you have gleaned from the day-by-day overview here that is a way of life. So when we have our excursions here, we still continue in the theme of providing the most authentic Norwegian experience. So we have fishing excursions, we have sea eagle safari excursions for birders, lots of bird life, particularly in the northern regions of Norway. I mentioned the Northern Lights capital of Alta. You have a cathedral here called the Northern Lights Cathedral. You can explore Ålesund on foot here. Yeah, as you'll see, this is, I believe that's Mount Axla. You can see the vistas throughout the city here. Igloo Hotel here in Alta. Maybe go kayaking in Svolvær, and also just general hiking. We love to go hiking. We have a saying, it's called ut på tur, aldri sur. It means out in the field or forest bathing, you can never be in a bad mood, essentially. You can quad bike to the North Cape or maybe participate in a dog sledding excursion. So your home away from home will be on the MS Trollfjord. So on board, you're going to have that two-story panorama lounge I told you about. You'll have movie theater style seating for the lecture hall. We have a beautiful sauna with floor-to-ceiling windows. I did mention these are culinary cruises, so we do have a fitness center to offset that caloric intake, a gift shop if you've forgotten anything, and just keep in mind that there's loads of quiet, tranquil nooks and crannies where you can spend your days. We'll have libraries and lots of other quiet seating areas where you can just take in the beautiful landscape of Norway or read a good book. Of course, bottom left, very important, ample observation deck space, well away from all the light pollution, because we do have the best nightlife in the business, and that nightlife does consist of chasing the northern lights. The ship was fully refurbished in 2023, so we have suites, some that have private balconies and others that have floor-to-ceiling bay windows. And we do have a wide variety of non-suite stateroom options. Again, they do just run a little bit tight, so please consider this to be your bedroom. A Hurtigruten experience is not meant to be spent from your stateroom. The ship is built for your comfort. It is meant for you to be roaming out and about comfortably throughout your days. I mentioned that we do have Norway's coastal kitchen, so this is absolutely a culinary cruise. We definitely celebrate our 70 plus suppliers along the way. Your main dining will be in Flora. This is included for all guests, and you'll have generally speaking, a buffet format, a breakfast, buffet format lunch, and most often a seated dinner at assigned times. So this is where you'll get all of the main menus. We don't have we have culinary storytelling through our menus here, essentially. So I do encourage that you read the menus. You're going to learn about our providers here. We do have another restaurant called Arran. This is our way of showing our respect and gratitude to the Sami people and everything they've done for Norway. Arran is actually a northern Sami word for the fire at the heart of a lavo, which is that temporary dwelling used by the Sami people for thousands of years. This is a place for storytelling. You gather here, you share your stories. That's how we hope you will utilize this space. You can dine on traditional dishes with a modern twist, such as Sami reindeer stew, maybe sliced smoked reindeer meat. You can have pepper steak with béarnaise sauce. You'll have a beautiful gastro burger, crab cakes, lots to choose between here. And this is most day dining. Usually will open from 11 in the morning until about 9 or 10 at night. First come, first serve, also included for all guests. Included for suite guests and an optional charge for non-suite guests is the culinary star of the MS Trollfjord. That is Røst Arctic Fine Dining. This was inspired by the ancient fish bank of Røst in the Lofoten Islands. Our fine dining restaurant pays tribute to the product that helped establish Norway, which was fish. Alongside the stockfish that Norway's economy and heritage was built on, your dishes can include salmon, reindeer, as well as some more unexpected ingredients such as seaweed, kelp, Arctic pearls, or sea urchins. Our resident sommeliers, they're on hand to help pair each dish perfectly with local wines along the way. So this is included for suite guests. It is an optional charge for non-suite guests, and we absolutely recommend that you have your clients or that you upgrade while you're on board here. Finally, we do have the 1893 bar, and this is also the Panorama Lounge, two-story Panorama Lounge here, where you have the bar right in the center. This is where you can experience the Nordic cocktails served to perfection and a fantastic, unique signature cocktails. This will reflect the culture and heritage from the Arctic coastline and the rest of Norway. You're going to find that we are very celebrated along the coast of Norway. You will taste the coast of Norway through our luscious libations as well. So we do have we have distilleries that make premium Arctic gin only for Hurtigruten, premium Arctic akvavit only for Hurtigruten. You have breweries that will make organic IPAs only for Hurtigruten, and we have another sparkling wine called Bubbles of the Sea, or Havets Bobler. We age our sparkling wine underwater in undisclosed fjords between 6 to 8 months, providing the perfect maturation process before we serve them on board. So once again, everything about Hurtigruten screams authentically Norwegian. So let's talk about what's included. So you'll have your choice of cabin category and number. Now pay attention to that asterisk. The cabin number is for the full voyages only. If you book a half voyage, your cabin number will be assigned upon check-in. The ship does have Starlink, so you do have decent Wi-Fi on board. If you are a remote worker, you can easily check emails and social media. You'll have unlimited select drinks at Flora, Arran, and the 1893 bar served during opening hours for lunch and dinner. Unlimited tea and coffee that you can find on deck 5, as well as in the panorama bar, or I'm sorry, the 1893 bar. Afternoon snack in the 1893 bar. You'll have food tastings and some culinary demonstrations out on deck. Access to the fitness room, as I mentioned, selection of outdoor equipment for activities. Movie nights will have music entertainment in the evenings. Now, additional amenities for suites would be the access to Rust fine dining, and also you'll have the fast track priority check-in, and you'll receive a Hurtigruten clothing package, including a shell jacket, a sweater, and a wool hat. So that pretty much sums up the North Cape line. I hope you found this overview to be helpful. We hope to have the opportunity to welcome you on board to chase the Northern Lights. The one last thing I'll leave you with here is that this is primarily a Northern Lights cruise, but we do sail into April, or through April, I would say. So once we pass March, we do start to experience the increasing daylight hours. So anywhere from early to mid-April, you will start to have more daylight hours, and we do say goodbye to Northern Light season. So that's going to have more of an on the cusp of spring focus, if you will. So just we'll leave you with those thoughts. I hope this helps. I hope we have the chance to welcome you to our beautiful home country of Norway. Tusen hjertelig takk. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a fantastic day.